tube shave fans, super curve honing fans, type 2 diabetes rescued by keto fans, and carnivore eating fans, the proper human diet. It is built here. I'm going to do a shave today. The soap I'm going to use is from The Cajun Blade. Eric makes these soaps. This one is, I have not used this yet. This is Lavash, okay? And based on my smelling this, it is Lavash, or I think I got one computer translation says holy cow, or for me, holy guacamole. It is good. This really smells good. If you decide you're gonna try one of Eric's soaps, and look up the Cajun Blade on eBay, and if he has that, it would be, in my opinion, a worthwhile thing to pursue. Not to take away from other soaps that I like and other good soap makers, because there are plenty. But this just is interesting differently. He doesn't do a strong type scent. His scents are interesting, and they're not like copies of this or copies of that. They are, as far as I know, they are things that he genuinely comes up and he genuinely likes. So I went ahead and I whipped up that lather in the bowl, and I'm going to be using the Simpson Emperor 2, which is a small one. I have the Emperor 2 and the Emperor 3. I've debated on buying the Emperor 1, which is even smaller, but this is small enough. It's the smallest brush I have, but it does do the job. And I'm not a big brush guy, so I don't need a bunch of brushes. I did use the Rich Man's Pre-Shave Pro Asso Pre-Shave and Menthol Eucalyptus Pre-Shave. In my opinion, it helps. It's one of the better things to help prepare the beard pre-shave. I've used a number of things. I've used a bunch of different techniques and put soap on. All those are good. The main thing is, I think, is you want to have some level of moisture that gets into the hair, okay? And that's why so many people say that they find it's better to shave it, more closely after you get out of the shower. Okay, I personally find that I get less weepers and that kind of stuff when I do that. So the razor I'm going to use today, and I'm going to tie this in with some stuff. Okay, this is what do they call this? Runde Sache. Okay, it's German for well-rounded. Okay, this is a 5/8 blank form, which is a shoulderless blank form, which is one of the reasons I want it. This is considered an entry-level razor. It is ground very thin. Let's see if we can get the slight view of the. You can kind of see a little bit of the belly right in here. Okay, where it's bellied. It's thinly ground. Let's see if there you can kind of see it a little bit that way. I like the razor. I think for what you pay for this, Dovo does. It is plastic. It does have a middle pitting in it. Don't get alcohol on these things. Okay, these Dovo scales use a plastic that I think that is sensitive to really any solvent, and I think they say in the instructions just wash it with water. Has a pretty tight pinning. I'm pretty happy with it. This is, I guess, the third time I've used it. I think I shaved with the factory edge, which is okay, and then I rehoned it, and then I actually rehoned it, I think, a second time to get it to where I like it. Okay, and one of those shaves, I kind of picked on Dovo a little bit because this was not a perfect razor. Like many razors, they are not perfect. Okay, and actually shades really well. But there are people who would look at this and they would see, that it did come in. It did come to me. I opened it, was brand new when I opened it. It did have what the famous owners have called the Dovo frown. I didn't see a big warp in it, but there may be some there. In looking at the bevel, from the factory, the bevel is not even. Still not even. I wouldn't expect it to be even. But I would challenge any experienced straight razor shaver to shave with this as it is now and decry, okay, that this is not a good shaver. So when I did that initial video, and I think I commented or once and may have posted some screenshots. Okay, one of the guys who's probably the nephew of the admiral who loves his supper over at the Bludgeon and Beat Down forum that is run by Joel Badger, who's always begging for money. So anyhow, this guy comes up. My channel. Which is where I get to talk about what I want to talk about and what I'm doing. That's why they call it YouTube, meaning it's about me. And I can talk about what I want to talk about. So, and I did not throw away the printout that I had. And I think somebody later on commented on my comments and my using these printouts and putting the screenshots in there that I need a teleprompter. They're probably just somebody who's just enjoys being the keyboard crusader and beating down on somebody else for whatever reason, okay? So anyhow, I did pick this up, okay? And I think in one of the things he said, and here it is right here, okay? And it's like this James WG8QK or something like that, okay? So when I make videos, when you make videos, this is what he's telling me, you open yourself up to criticism and discourse. And I'm fine with discourse and I'm fine with criticism. I'm not afraid to be opened up with that. It's like, but gee, if you want to have a discourse the same way that I'm investing in my time and my stuff into communicating, you're on YouTube, otherwise you wouldn't be able to comment on this, okay? All you got to do is make a video, okay? You can do that, if you got a modern Apple phone, you could do that, and the software is a lot of times contained right in there. You don't have to get anything fancy in, and you don't have to get a fancy mount for your mirror, you can just stack it up on some books or something like that if you want to. Anyhow, so and then he goes on to give his Badger and Blade style slam on me. If that's something your ego can't handle, maybe consider not making them. So he wants me to stop making videos because he says I have an ego problem, okay? because I can't handle his criticism, which he thinks he's entitled to give me, and that's fine. That's fine. But this is my channel, okay? And I can just delete this guy if I want to delete this guy, okay? But I left it up so in case you want to go back and see it, and I did make the things because it does give me content, future content for my videos, to point out some of the ridiculous and arrogant behavior that some of these type of people have, and you'll find them even though the bludgeon and beatdown has got this decline in their attendance and that kind of stuff. You can still find these people over there. I can guarantee you that. So I don't know who this guy is over at the bludgeon and beatdown, but he goes on, okay. So he talks about this razor here where I did the video, and he says, these issues with Dovo are so widely known and have played their fair part in the company failing. So, I mean, this does sound, this is like right out of the GS 6-gun and Squadron Razor Palace Forum handbook. Because I've heard him say that many a times when he was out there bludgeoning after me. So the bludgeon and beatdown forum is not the only place that it has the corner on that type of thing. So anyhow, this guy goes on and I should learn to talk and shave at the same time. Instead of having to stop and pay attention to what I'm doing. One of the things I do like about this, I do like this square point for getting in and around the nose a little bit better than round point razors. Round point razors are maybe a little safer because these square pointers, they can get you, but I like them. For that reason. Well, the other thing I've noticed about the Dovo razors is the steel, it's known, it feels to me like it's always a little bit more flexible than and I do love my French razors, don't get me wrong. Okay, I love my TR Zassard razors. Okay, but there's a rigidity in their steel. Maybe, I don't know if it's the hardness or actually the composition of the steel being their what they call a carbon song C135, which I guess is 1.35% carbon or whatever it means. It's a formula for how much stuff they put into the steel, but it's good steel. But I do like the Dovo razors because there is a flexibility that you can feel. I seem to think that you can feel that on your face when you shave with them. one of the things I like about Eric Soap is they have interesting fragrances that are not overpowering, and there's a complexity to them that is interesting. So back to my friend and his criticism. Okay, so he goes on. Okay. So these guys were all completely enthused when Dovo went into bankruptcy. Okay. Now they blamed it on the horrible razors they were making. I personally think it is a decline in the overall interest in wet shaving and the use of straight razors. It's my opinion. Okay. And I have reasons for that opinion. Okay. But then he goes on and then he's a nice guy. I hope they pull it together, because when a Dovo is good, it's good. Otherwise, why pay a premium price for a crapshoot on quality? Okay, so I don't know that I would call this a premium price. It's an entry level price. Okay, it might be a premium price over some crappy gold dollar or other China wonder from China. So whatever it is that trips your trigger. So anyhow, why pay a price for a crapshoot on quality, especially when there are so many other makers out there that can produce consistent quality? Now get this one. Take Ralph Aust, for example. Solingen-based one-man operation and never sends out the garbage Dovo has. Now, I hope this guy, James, I hope you're prepared to get on the phone or get on your keyboard and I'm going to reveal something, and I'm also going to defend Ralph Aust, okay? Because he, like every German razor maker and Karat, and I think the guy in Australia, there's a guy in France, they buy the stamped blank from the Heckenrath Forge. I think it's Heckenrath Forge in Solingen, Germany. Okay. And the way these come out, these are not super high production items. They are items that are I would imagine that they're unique and low volume items. And come at a price to the razor maker so that he can do what he needs to do, all the work that he's got to do to develop this, and still sell it and still pay the rent and pay himself and put ham sandwiches on the table. But I have a friend because a lot of people have Ralph Aust razors. A lot of people like them. But to say that he never sends something out that is bent or has a curve in it or has an uneven bevel or is warped, or doesn't have some other problem is just wrong. Okay? So and I know there's a razor vendor in Michigan or something like that who went over there, and he's guaranteed that the Ralph Aust razors, they're all real good. He went over there and made sure that he was honing them with nano with superstones and and they were properly flattened. Which, if you're interested in a Ralph Aust and your expectation is that everything this guy makes is perfect, I would suggest you find that guy in Michigan, and if you want a Ralph Aust, you buy it from him, and you can find his statements, as well as other statements about how good they are. And then if you get one that ain't perfect and ain't to your liking, he's got to take it back. Otherwise, you could go on the bludgeon and beat down forearm and make sure everybody knows that Ralph Aust made a less than perfect razor. But I'm pretty sure this guy James will get on his keyboard, and now I'm not going to, but I could name the name of the individual who got this razor from Ralph Aust. He was, and he is a stickler for perfection in his stuff. He doesn't have a lot of stuff, but he does like nice stuff, and he likes the stuff that he has to be, let's call it, flawless. Okay, so he happened to get one that was not flawless, and Ralph Aust did not respond. Exactly to the liking of my friend. So, and if you're manufacturing and you're selling the product, okay, quality defined by quality professionals, okay, and that, you know, I learned this a long time ago with ISO, and gone through a company that has ISO certification, is that these quality experts, you know, I'd always, since I'm in a craft, I'd always figured, well, quality is something that's more beautiful and a higher level of challenge to manufacture or whatever. Well, I got corrected in my quality training, my ISO quality training, that no, that is not. So you can make a razor that has whatever intricacies. That's a very good shave. I'm going to do a little bit of a touch up here. So the quality managers who were in charge of quality training in this company that I work for, and I got it way back then. I'm back there working there again. Hopefully I'll finish out my career there. But they define quality as delivering the customer their expectations. Okay, so that takes the what it costs completely out of it. If you deliver the customer their expectations, then you have produced a quality product. Now you could, let's say, do something better. So if my expectation for this razor was that it would not be perfect, then it is not perfect. Okay, it shaves perfectly after I have honed it up. Okay, but the imperfections that come from the forging of that steel are never going to go away. They'll always be there. And if that was going to bother me, okay, for $140, maybe I would, if that bothers me for $140, well, it shouldn't. Okay. But in the event that you're interested in a Ralph Faust, there is a vendor that you can go to, and I'm pretty sure that he will back up, even if Ralph Faust will not. He'll make good. Okay, so if you buy something and it does not meet your expectations, okay, he should make good and replace that razor for you. So that doesn't happen if you buy directly from Ralph Faust. I did use the alum. I'm going to put a little bit of a witch hazel. Witch's hazel. This is sterling. It's witch hazel, aloe, some other stuff, and some essential oil and some menthol. I do like it. It is an orange chill. The scent of it reminds me a little bit of, but a little bit stronger than Lucky Tiger. Lucky Tiger, I believe, is mostly witch hazel. I probably at some point got to replace my Lucky Tiger. And I probably should have used that because this is a stronger orange, and I'm going to use an aftershave that's a little bit stronger. So to go back to the razor and your expectations for quality, if you're going to look for a razor that's perfect, communicate to the vendor that you're going to buy the razor from. Better with him. Maybe if you were buying directly from Ralph Faust and you had told him ahead of time, I need a perfect razor. I do not want any bends. I do not want any warps. I do not want, you need to tell him what you want. Otherwise, that's part of your responsibility as a customer to make sure that the vendor knows your expectations. Okay. And you would avoid some of those problems. And there are some vendors, okay, who, if you have that expectation and that vendor is not willing to accept or inspect that product before they send it out to you and determine, and that's always, I'm using this Master aftershave. It is a smoky oud flavor. I got this because it was cheap, and it's got some alcohol in it, and it's got some, what does this have in there? Alcohol and fragrance and glycerin and some other fragrances in that kind of stuff. I don't know it, but it's an oud type scent. I'm not a big scent guy. I've seen people who are, and there's a specific oud type thing. I'm sure that's some sort of a substitute or whatever, not the real McCoy. So if you want a perfect razor, okay, and to my friend who got that bum razor from Ralph Faust, I'm sorry that happened to you. It should not happen. Okay, but in defense of Ralph Faust, that's not his problem. Okay, he buys, like all the razor makers do, they buy these from these blanks in whatever bulk they need to buy to get an economic price to make a living. And there's bound to be, coming from that forge or any other forge, okay, some that are perfect and some that are less than perfect. Okay, so if you are the razor maker, if you are Ralph Faust, for instance, and I'm going to use a little bit of powder, and you secure these razor blanks from this forge, and there are some within the batch, is it your job to pick through them? And then what if the forge says that's within our quality control parameters? Okay, powder cannon. So to say that what's coming out of the Heckenrath Forge lacks quality based on quality standards does not really necessarily hold it with me, because quality is defined by delivering the customer their expectations. And the only way a vendor and a customer can understand the expectations of the sale is to discuss it. So if a small razor maker, if Bill M. Razors, startup razor company here in the U.S., wants to buy a bucket of 5/8 razor blanks from the Heckenrath Forge, okay, here's how much they're going to cost. And I'm going to say, and if I say, I want them all to be perfect, I don't want any bent ones, I don't want to, well, there's going to be some bent ones in there. This is like a handmade process. And if I say, I need you to select through them, will they do that? And will they throw out the bad ones? Or will they just say, will they say, okay, well, if we pick through them, they may even know that we have an X number of percentage, so your cost is going to go up on that. Okay. But does that, and they could say that that's within their manufacturing tolerance, as would, so if you go to Dovo and I say, well, Dovo, look at this, and I have this guy here over at the Badger and Blade, and he says that this is how you need to be making your razors. Okay, and they're going to say, this meets our standard for quality. And this is within the parameters of what we can make by hand. Okay. And so it's unfortunate it goes this way, but if sometimes you're just not going to get perfection. Okay. But I do encourage Mr. James WG8 QK. Please, you can comment in on my thing here, and you can say, gee, I'm sorry. I didn't know that Ralph Faust, take Ralph Faust, for example, one-man operation, never sends out the garbage that Dovo has. Either somebody made a liar out of you, or you were just misinformed from the beginning. I'd be anxious to hear your comments on that. Okay, so that's the shave. I hope everybody has a good week. It's very, very interesting watching the political environment and what's happening. It is, for me, from where I'm coming from, I think there's still a chance at freedom. Okay, I heard a commentator the other day that said that there is a country in Europe, okay, where you can do more jail time for making an internet or a social media post where you call somebody a pedophile. Okay, so the impact for you saying that, whether it's true or not, you're saying that in terms of a free speech, that is considered hate speech. But if you are, okay, the legal penalty is less, so you can go to jail for longer for accusing somebody of that. And you should, if you're going to accuse somebody, you should have some basis for that accusation. But they can come after you for saying that and put it on social media. So that's what's happening to around the world to our freedom folks. I don't have to tell you most of that. It is my hope that the standby First Amendment, the freedom of speech that the founders of the United States put together in a document will survive and will endure, and it will be embraced. It does look somewhat promising on that. Now, on the other side of the coin, many of you know that I became a Democrat because I wanted to vote in the Democratic primary. I wanted to be able to have a say in my state. Okay. Somehow or another, that Democratic primary never really happened around here, but now I'm stuck as a Democrat. I got this label on me. You're a Democrat. So I need to support my Democratic peeps. Okay. And the Democratic peep from here, the state of Pennsylvania, the governor, invites Vladimir Zelensky here in the United States to go view this bomb factory where we make bombs. Okay. Now, you could say whatever you want about the conflict in Ukraine. You could say whatever you want. Okay. But the United States backed out on one of their commitments, and one of their commitments for having a united Germany was that NATO would not move 1 inch to the east towards the Soviet Union. And we've moved like 1,000 miles, and then all of a sudden now NATO wants to have Ukraine, which has this huge border, and we want to, I guess we want to put a bunch of nukes right on the border there. Okay, so for whatever evil that you perceive or think about Russia, that is their country. They do have a right to defend themselves. I do believe that the United States would not tolerate Russian nuclear missiles on the Canadian border aimed at us. I do not believe that we would tolerate that. So there is I believe, a political solution to that. Okay, but some very, very good things came out. I've been listening to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard, and there are some pretty powerful money machines behind there. But anyhow, we the Democrats, we rejoice in that our governor, Josh Shapiro, did a photo shoot right after Zelensky was bitching about the Republican candidate, the Freedom candidate, the America First candidate, VP J.D. Vance and Donald Trump, and bitching about them. Because I guess if Donald Trump wins the election, he's going to want to end that conflict. And Zelensky didn't mind wiping out a whole generation, 500,000 of his young men. And, they're like, he didn't care. He got his money. So, and I'm sure that came from some of the money and there's Josh Shapiro. He's smiling and he is signing his name to a damn bomb, okay, that somebody's going to drop, okay, and that's gonna kill somebody. So is that righteous to have this bomb and kill Russians? No, I know I'm a Democrat, but I do like what Donald Trump said. He says, I want people to stop dying. I think that's a admirable pursuit around the world. My friends, I'm going to put in the list a bunch. I've been rambling on a little bit longer. I'm going to put in some people that I like to listen to. Keep those of you who are men of faith, do keep my friend Leon, who he may no longer be the long haul tanker. Keep him in mind. He's had a job situation. Just keep him in prayers that he'll recover. It's really, really hard at an advanced age when you just want to work a couple more years to have to be cut off, have your feet cut off below you, because it's hard to get a job. I've had that happen. I was in a position where I could semi-retire, but I didn't want to. Okay, and now I'm in a position where if they do that to me where I work now, I really don't care. Okay, but I do want to continue to work for a couple more years because I do feel better. So that's what's going on, and there's a lot of you out there in our little group that have made videos. I got a lot of watching on videos to catch up on, so I haven't really commented in some of you. Sometimes I'll just watch them and I'll just give you the thumbs up. Do know that I am watching you guys. So this is Bill out. Take care. Hope everybody has a great week. Bye.